Okay, this is part 2 of assembling the upper frame for the TREX700X. A couple other things to point out here. These are a little bit difficult to pick out in the assembly manual. What you're seeing here using the smaller bolts, these are the 2mm head bolts, going into the upper and the lower bearing here are the servo mounts. And they're going to be positioned so the servo will eventually fit right here. But these are mounted when you mount the bearing block using the 2mm head screws versus the 2.5s. So this side has the rear canopy standoff right near the servo hole. That's taking it through here. We've got the motor stiffener here. Eventually the motor mount and the motor will be placed there. Upper and lower servo mount. So this side is essentially done, and what you are seeing here is this view from the manual on page 7. So I'm going to go back and assemble the opposite side of this, putting together pieces like this, and you'll be able to see how the components go together. I can start off with the bearing block, or the motor reinforcement that goes to the upper bearing block. Here. Now on the lower bearing block, we're going to use 2 of the socket head collar screws, the larger collar. This is I've used these for years on the TREX700 and electric and nitro. The only thing you want to make sure here is when you're working with this type bolt is the tool head is completely seated. So you don't strip out those particular heads. We get the large bolt back here. Okay, and then there's 2 3x6mm that go through from this side to mount the, oops, get that aligned first. 2 3mm by 6 bolts here for the pinion. Okay, the next piece that actually goes together are the upper and the lower servo mounts using the smaller bolts. Change tools here. Easiest way to look at this is the servo, the angled part faces toward the rear of the helicopter. So when I put this together, this is going to be my upper mount. It's going to sit here, and the servo screws face toward the rear. This will go together here. Need to align that first. If you've noticed, I'm a fan of this DeWalt mini driver. I typically set the torque on no higher than 8 while I'm using this tool, and this allows me to torque down 2.5 and 3mm bolts very effectively. I gotta get the line up. Okay, one more to go here. Okay, the piece we have to put together still. This can be done when the frame is built or not, is we're going to assemble the rear canopy mount. This bolt has to come in from the inside near the servo frame here. And the longer of the canopy mounts is the rear upper mount. So this comes in like this. We've got the ability to reach across the frame to hold it, and on this model I'm also able to tighten it using the hole through the canopy mount. Okay, with that, the upper section of the frame is effectively put together. In the next video we're going to start assembling the lower frame, which is going to connect from here downward, put this in the orientation from the manual. To connect from here downward, we're going to put the lower bearing block in place and then the entire lower frame. We'll be right back.